another edition of the Mainstream Podcast, although we're going a little non-mainstreamy today. Bound for Glory, that's the topic of conversation. We're going to get a little bit into Hell in a Cell, although, I didn't watch it. I ain't going to put myself through that hell. Hey, it lived up to its name finally. I'm your host, as always, Chad Porto, and joining me is the glorious one himself, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm good. Let's get to it.
I'm going to record this just in case we don't get an actual feed on Twitch, because Twitch is being weird right now. It says we're live, but okay, we're live. I'm not going to record it. Well, I'll record it just in case. I don't want to lose it. All right, so we're going to kick off with Bound for Glory, and then we're going to go into all the other, schmodge sense. And then, if you're listening on YouTube, there's going to be a download, down below, and then you'll be able to listen to the rest of the show. Because we're going to split this baby up, because we don't want to make things too long. Let's try to keep the review to an hour. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're going to try. So this was simulcast on both Access TV and YouTube and Twitch. We got the start of the show technically started at 7, and it wrapped up with the Ken Shamrock congratulations and Hall of Fame induction. Bret Hart, Mick Foley, The Rock, they all sent in messages of support and well wishes to Shamrock. And, the Bret Hart one makes sense. The Rock one makes sense. People always forget, though, that Shamrock had a feud with Mick Foley. So I thought that was a pretty nice little thing for Santa Mick to give to Mr. Shamrock. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, man.
Then we got Matt Stryker and Don Callis on commentary to do the countdown show to glory. Not much happened on this, but we did have an opener. It was the Rascals versus the Deaners. And I don't know how this is going to go over with the rest of humanity. I'm starting to prefer the Deaners to the Rascals. I said it.
Oh, man.
I know. There's just something about Cody Deaner that makes me go, you deserve success. He's just a decent guy. And I loved his Quarantine fucking segments. Those were great. Just him in his little trailer on the side of some Canadian road. Dude, come on, that was great.
Every time I hear that, all I can think about is the Wrong Turn movies, though. So that messes me up.
I actually just watched a video on YouTube talking about the is it the Wrong Turn, the one with the giant moth monster dude who's got a fast pickup truck for some reason? No,
you might I think you're talking about Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, I just saw a video on Jeepers Creepers talking about the first two movies. If I can remember it, I'll send it to you because it was I was like, oh, this is actually some pretty cool lore.
Yeah, I'm glad to talk about the first two movies because that third one, Jesus.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, have mercy.
The Deaners defeat the Rascals. I didn't actually see the match, but it was good to see both these guys, all four of these guys, get on the show, even though there's no crowd and whatnot. Ken Shamrock gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Marcus, you were going to say something?
Yeah, man, just solid affair between those two. I mean, look, I think we're on opposite sides when it comes to those teams in that match, but it's just good to see the tag team, and of course we'll talk about it later. The women's divisions, both single and of course the tag team thriving. Because tag team wrestling is essential. So it's just good to see a lot of these teams getting some shine. Double XL and the Rascals really probably had one of my favorite matches on Victory Road. So good stuff.
For me with the Rascals, it's not that I dislike them. It's I need to see them do something different. I feel
presentation.
Yeah, the presentation, the shtick. They gotta start shaking some things up.
Gotcha.
Shamrock gets a cool little glass crystal award, which is cool because before they used to give out watches.
Oh yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, remember that? Hall of Fame watch. That's what you get when you
Don't you think?
retire. Here's your watch. Get the fuck out. So then we go. The pre-show wraps up, and we kick off with the scramble match, 6-way, which featured Chris Bate, Trey Miguel, TJP, Jordan Grace, Willie Mack, all for the X Division title. We'll skip the hubbubaloo because if you want to see beat by beat what happened, just go watch the damn match. Rohit ends up winning, if I remember correctly, after Trey sets up a finish and nearly gets the win, but gets thrown out by Rohit, and Rohit capitalizes. Was that what? That's how it was Trey that he threw out, right?
Yeah, say it was Trey that ended up hitting something on TJP, or the inverse of that.
Yeah, it
And
was
he
TJP hit the Mamba Splash on Trey.
There it was. There it is. And yeah, he got him out and then got the win. So like I said, it was a good affair, man. Good stuff back and forth. Like these scrambles can get pretty chaotic, but I think that this roster as a whole does a good job at keeping things about as level as you can, with remaining out of the ring as you need to, and coming in and good trade, a lot of good chemistry in this match. But yeah, man, Rohit needed to retain, and it was cool to see him retain, and not in I guess pussified fashion. He actually I think took out he got rid of TJP and dropped Trey with a knee and then pinned him. So that was good.
For me, I would like to see less title matches in these types of scrambles and multi-man things.
Yeah.
It's like I'm never going to be a real big fan. And that's not to say that I don't want to see these matches exist, but like this could have been a great way to put a bunch of X Division guys in like a title contender match and do like elimination back in the day. Like in 04, 05, they used to do multi-man elimination matches, and where you were eliminated is where you would be in the pecking order. So whoever won was number one contender. Whoever got pinned last was the number two contender, and so on and so forth. That would have been a great way to do this. Only with now Jordan Grace involved. But I really had some trepidations that Jordan Grace was going to win this, and then I had some even more trepidations that one of the women was going to win the Battle Royal, and I'm just like, if this company goes full intergender, I'm just done. But we obviously know why all the women were being thrown on the card, because they made a big announcement later on in the night, and I was like, all right, fine. I'm still here.
As soon as I saw those tag straps, I was like, all I could just see was your head on Batista's body. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Oh.
I would like to imagine that I look better than Batista, because he's got a weird head.
Yeah, then you would also have better choice in tattoos. So that,
like none.
Exactly.
Sometimes there are such thing as too many tattoos. Usually that starts with one. We get a backstage promo that I don't know why we had on a paper. Whatever. I don't care. Then we go into the call your shot gauntlet battle royal bullshit. I didn't mind this, truthfully. Some of it was dumb. I'm not going to sit here and say that I was over the moon about everything. But, like, getting Sean Daivari as the first entrant, didn't hate that. I've always liked Sean Daivari. It's kind of one of those guys that I know a lot of people don't get or don't like, but, I like the guy.
Sean went and stole all the muscles and brought us. Do that muscles in his forehead, his eyebrow. But yeah, he came back phenomenal, apparently, in the same gear he left in, which is hilariously pointed out on commentary. But yeah, it's something awkward about that promo. They basically got caught because the production was kind of up and down throughout the night.
Yeah.
I think Josh caught on audio saying, "Well, somebody do something about the sound," and then Rhino and Heath got caught. Kind of like Kane did back in the day when he was Cena, and then the guy off camera was like, "Okay, 3, 2, 1, go!" And you saw his hand come into the frame, like they did a reset on a live show, and it was just not. It was not. So, but yeah, the match, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sleepy for the show. And this was one of the matches I kind of clocked out on. And then when I found out later that, well, obviously we know the results of it. The results was right, but when I found out that Swoggle participated, I'm like, yep, I checked out right at the right amount of time. I checked out right.
Swoggle was not one of the good parts about this at all. Like, I don't know why he keeps getting. I don't know why he keeps getting hired.
Does he still look like a Honey I Shrunk the Phenomenal one?
Yeah, only with longer hair.
Wow, that's that. Thank God for James Storm, who I wish kind of would have made more of an impact. Maybe debuted somewhere else, not necessarily in this match, but we did get the Cowboy back.
So
cool to see.
We got Cowboy back. We got Sheik back, or no, not Sheik. We got Shandavari back. That was cool. I don't know what James Storm's tenure is going to be like. It may have just been for this card. I haven't watched tonight's Impact, so I don't know if he was shown at all.
Yeah.
But why do people need to text me right now? Like, come on, people. All right, anyway. So, this may be a one-off, but, even if it was a one-off, I still liked it, because it's supposed to give the night a little bit more pomp and circumstance. There was a missed opportunity, though. Now, I thought they could have used another entrance spot and have that go to, like, Chris Harris. I thought that would have been awesome. But I'm still living in that hope that one day we'll get a AMW reunion. Hopefully.
I always appreciate that you championed, a lot of instances for Chris Harris to come back specifically for that reason. But, I think he is a guy that, weirdly enough, kind of gets lost in the shuffle in terms of those TNA OGs, if you will. Speaking of OGs, shout out to Monty Brown. People, please stop tweeting him, apparently, to come back. No means no for the...
So, apparently, I just found out that might not actually be him.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, right? Like, so... The search for Monty Brown's social media continues. So the final four of the Battle Royal ends up coming down to Callahan, Storm, Heath, and Rhino. And honestly, I think that's the right final four. Basically, it was supposed to be Heath wins, and then him and Rhino, get the tag team title shots and yada yada yada. But somewhere Heath, I think, suffered like a hernia or a groin injury, and so he had to be taken out of the match. So that's why it was Rhino eliminating Callahan last, when it was supposed to be Heath eliminating Callahan last. So I'm fine with that. I love Rhino. Rhino's awesome. So, cool beans. Plus, it sets up an easy kind of, workaround feud with Sami Callahan. If they got to have, Heath on the shelf for a few weeks, you can do Rhino versus Callahan again, which I would love. That'd be awesome. So that rolls us into EC3 versus Moose.
Well, we'll just recite your tweet, bro.
Cinematic wrestling is to wrestling what COVID is to the world. It's trash. I hate it, and I don't know why people like it. Marcus, what's your thoughts on this fuckery?
Yeah. I have historically been more of a fan of these cinematic things, more than my partner here has, specifically when it comes to Impact, the Hardy Decay stuff, which I think we both like to a certain degree.
I like the first one.
And more yeah. Then I think we both are very highly favorable of a specific moment from the last one with the trucker who got sodomized.
What did he say? Did you sodomize me?
He literally just pulled the head up and was like, nobody sodomized me and gets away with it.
Which gives you an idea this isn't the first time he's been sodomized.
Oh my God, man. That's just well, it will never get old. But yeah, I pretty much liked most of those stuff, and then more notably on the WWE side, the Undertaker Styles match, mostly because it was necessary for what Taker was at that stage in his career, and for that to kind of cap off his official in ring tenure, if you will, wasn't half bad at all, considering the matches he was coming off of. So yeah, but like I said earlier, I was tired during this show, and this was literally with the match that I laid down. Well, and then I woke up literally on the moment where EC3 was like, "Do it, take me out, or whatever, control your narrative, or whatever." And Moose did to thank you, and he won. And even me catching just that little bit, I was like, for some reason, I just feel like this was pointless. Like, because we had just got a like it wasn't the last show, it was the show before that where they had this standoff on this bridge, which didn't necessarily have a pop to it. I'm just still wondering what's the whole point of this thing. To control my narrative, Moose saying thank you or whatever. Like, if this is supposed to get Moose away from the title that's defunct, that he don't really need to be associated with, or is this like, what is this going to ultimately do for both parties? And the fact that I don't know is, I guess, proof that this did not work at all.
So I'm of the mindset that this was terrible, and that we're all worse off as a nation for having to suffer through it. This reeks of somebody in EC3 who thinks that he needs to distance himself away from what worked for some fuckery. I was actually just watching a video. It's from a YouTube channel called The Punk Rock MBA. And there the guy talks a lot about rock music and things like different genres and when guys, and bands change genres. And this video was specifically about bands who change genres. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, and the ramifications of it. Just a little bit of a fun did you know. Marcus, you know Sugar Ray, right? The band, the awful band?
Yeah.
Do you know they used to be a hardcore punk band before they went completely lame?
Oh.
Yeah. That's like Metallica being more famous for writing nursery rhymes than metal songs. It's a thing, folks. But anyway, this is the wrestling version of that. EC3 is going so far away from what made him popular that I don't think he realizes the damage he's incurring onto his own reputation. It's like the idea of Ric Flair becoming Spartacus and how dumb of an idea that was. This is the same thing. This is a weak, nonsensical, pointless, just unforsaken, god-awful gimmick that he's doing because he thinks it's artistic, deep, and interesting. This is the 15-year-old high school kid writing lyrics where he's talking about, my tears are blood and my feelings are an ocean. You're not that deep. What are you doing?
It's funny. This
Marcus, you muted yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, thanks. Because I sure was talking. But
thanks. I sure was talking.
Yeah, this kind of reeks of one of those scenarios with a nice guy that the girl was his world, and then she ultimately cheated on him with the neighborhood goon, and then
or the neighborhood.
He yeah. He blows the gasket, and all of a sudden, the nice guy turns into the thug, and he thinks it's working when it's really not his thing. I really do wonder, because this whole control his narrative thing, how much is this like to narratively spite what happened to him in WWE?
Oh, I think it's all about that. I think this is, oh god, I'm gonna open up some own personal wounds here. This is him being unable to trust anyone else creatively because he had a bad breakup. God, I know how that is. and it just wrecks you. And it, you know, it's like a ripple effect, and you don't know when it's going to stop. He does not trust anyone creatively to handle him anymore. And I wish I could blame this on Scott D'Amore, because I've been very critical of Scott D'Amore's booking in recent weeks. This is 100% EC3, because this is the same shit he's doing in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who wants this. You know, like, cool, a new Metallica album's out. But why are they doing Spanish jingles from old commercials? All right, someone might think that's interesting, but we ain't here for Metallica to have them cover, you know, 1950s Spanish TV commercial jingles. That ain't why we're here.
Yeah, it's
We showed up for Enter Sandman and All Nightmare Long, not Mr. Huevos Rancheros. Like, what is this?
I mean, look, he's the prime example of starting out in WWE, not being used as his fullest potential, going away, shining somewhere place else, and he probably was like, I went elsewhere, I shined, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show them what they missed out on, and he went back and he had that one moment in that when he debuted in NXT in that ladder match for that multi-man ladder match for the North American Championship, and he had a little bit more time in NXT, and he got brought up to the roster, and he didn't do a goddamn thing. And I get it, that was messed up, but you know, a lot of people get lost in that shuffle, man. But like the whole controlling his narrative, he's not controlling it, he's convoluting it. Like he's like what's the point? Like, he could have just easily have come back and was like, you know, I'm gonna take Moose out and his obsession, you know, with that title, because that title, you know, represents a part of me that no longer exists or whatever, and my new narrative is moving forward with this version of the company, primarily that championship, and I'm gonna take Moose out on my way there, as it's kind of like a last nail in that old EC3 coffin. And yeah, it was just the whole thing. Like, I really feel bad for Moose, because I really feel like he was building a lot of momentum, even with this defunct belt, and EC3 kind of came in and just sputtered him in the middle of the lake, and EC3 and Moose was just on the boat in some really expensive clothes, just spinning around and around and around. And I don't know, man. It's like I got the same amount of enthusiasm for EC3 that I had when he was in WWE, and that sucks. Because now he actually is controlling his narrative. So I guess that says it all.
I think the sad thing is he's getting to a point where I don't want him on my TV anymore.
Yeah.
He really excelled in a specific style gimmick. And this whole subverting expectations bullshit that people are thinking is such a great thing to do for entertainment value is a really great way of pissing off your consumer base. Marcus, if you go to a restaurant and order a grade A prime piece of rib or steak or whatever, and they bring you like a cauliflower sundae because they want to subvert your expectations, are you going to be happy about that?
Oh no, I'm gonna hit him with that rock. Like, what in the blue hell is this?
This is the problem with entertainment. People start to think that they're smarter or wittier than their audience. You're not. Sorry, buddy. You're not. I don't know what to tell you. Like, there are people in the audience who can do your job better than you.
Yeah, but no, Chad, by doing this, I'm gonna outthink you. Ultimately, I'm gonna outthink myself, and the whole situation is gonna come off as me being a stupid idiot.
You're gonna outthink me, all right. You know, eventually I'm gonna stop caring and stop tuning in, and well, you sure outthought me.
Oh,
if that was the end game, you did it, Thanos. Good job.
I hope they remember you. Oh man,
that'd be a great line. Oh my God, Marcus, that'd be a great line for a villain. I hope they remember you.
He said that to Stark.
Oh, did he? I don't even know. I fucking hated those movies.
They said to Stark in Infinity War when he stabbed him, And he put it out. He was like, "You have my respect, Stark. When I'm done, only half the people in the world will still exist. I hope they remember you."
Oh man, Infinity War is the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I don't remember it. I don't remember half those movies. Like I remember 2 movies: Winter Soldier, and then Winter Soldier. That's it. That's because most of it, the principal photography was in downtown Cleveland, and that's because the best of the films. And T'Challa was awesome in that.
Yeah, man.
I like the idea of 2 roided up dudes chasing down cars. I don't know. I think that's awesome.
That's hilarious. But do you I mean, obviously, the EC3 is like just kind of where I said Moose was right now in the middle of, in the middle of the lake on a boat spinning. Do you think Moose can salvage anything from this?
This feud?
Or you reckon to the next thing? Like somebody just, if you're gonna give him an extended stand impact for now, just send Storm after him.
You know, Demore has become such a shit booker, and I don't know why. I don't know if he's like treading water because he's got other things in the fire. You know, it's that idea like, you start, you're going to cook a pot roast, right? But it's going to take 2 hours. But you also have broccoli and carrots and you got to make the roux and you're making a dessert and you mistime it. And then the pot roast stays in too long and everything else doesn't cook as long as it needs to. And then all of a sudden your meal's not as good. You knew what you were doing, but you had to pace things out. And I don't know if that's what's happening now. But, unless January has some pretty big to-dos with Hard to Kill or whatever it is, I don't really know what the fucking point of October was, because like this was all nonsense. Like nothing on this show made sense heading into it. Like this isn't like us going, well, the build-up was good. Marcus, I was about to stop watching Impact because how bad this build-up was.
Yeah, you're not wrong, and I think I didn't know about. I mean, because I usually have more optimism about these things than you.
You are our bright, shiny sunshine of light. Yes, that's true.
I am the Huey in these scenarios.
And I'm very much Butcher in these scenarios. You fucking twats.
Get to the end of the show, Jazz like fucking diabolical booking.
fucking diabolical.
Oh man, but yeah, like because like now your rebooking of the show makes so much more sense, because you really, this multi-man match, like they just overbooked it, man. Like you really see how much, like putting all these people in everything kind of just, it hurt it. The scramble match was cool, but like you said, that didn't necessarily need to be for the title. That more so, that scramble thing with all those people in it more so fitted the narrative of Rohit's whole, I'm going to do an open challenge, but I still get to hand select the field of opponents type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But you tag, and that's where it really hurted it to me. Like with this, like, because why did Fulton and Ace did not need to be in that damn match?
No.
So, and it just, and I don't know what the freak happened with a certain individual, but yeah, like to me, Victory Road was a better show.
Yeah, and that was a fucking streaming show.
Yeah,
didn't have to pay $40 for that one.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I'm tapped out on the cinematic stuff too. I'm right with you at this point. That was did they have some people around the ring, some EC3 druids or something?
Yeah, because they were doing the Moose as Moose was getting ready to win the match. It was dumb. Moose won, by the way. Less said about that debacle, the better. Shamrock and Eddie's next. I will say this, of all the matches, this may have been my favorite. I don't know if it was good in a universal sense, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. Except for the ending when it all went to shit because we have to have everything overbooked. And the thing that really pissed me off, oh my God, the thing that really pissed me off. This is like a big pet peeve of mine. Remember when Floyd faced off at the Big Show in 2008 at WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
Floyd was like, I got a big surprise in my corner if the Big Show gets, too chirpy or whatever. And everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to have someone in his corner? Who's it going to be? It's a fucking brass knuckle. Eddie does the same bullshit in an interview prior to Bound for Glory. He's like, Sammy's gonna be in his corner, but don't worry, because I got someone watching my back. So of course, me being the longtime Impact TNA fan that I am, go, Davey, Dan Severn, who could it be? It's a fucking kendo stick. Fucking Christ.
It's fucking kitty. That's better than cutting off the lights with a button on your phone, but the camera showed that your phone screen was black when you did it.
It must be one of those blackout phones.
Oh man, that was besides that effery, like you said, I appreciated the match we got from Kenny and Eddie because like he was aggressive as hell in this match, and he was throwing Eddie completely off his game, and Eddie was having to I really got to catch him slipping, and I got to throw my usual stuff in there, but I got to throw it in there in a way that I'm not used to, because this guy's 100% like I'm hitting him, he's popping back up. I'm thinking I'm getting him in a submission, and he's got me in a submission. Like, it was some really good stuff, and that probably could have ended up being the best match on the show. Well, we'll get to the main event. But I dislike that more so had to do with the situation. Anybody that's been listening knows that. But the pure wrestling in this match, when there wasn't no effery, that was just some great stuff.
Yeah, it was a very physical match, and the way I would describe it is this is one of those matches that I thought would have done very well in a Josh Barnett Bloodsport type of setting where there's no ropes and you're more just working a brawl, so to speak. So, and on top of things, you have The Rock, Mick Foley, Bret Hart doing fucking shout-outs on your induction day.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you being booked as a heel? Why are you being booked against a guy on the mid-card? Why are you not in the main event as a face? Sometimes the stupidity of wrestling is so mind-numbingly dumb that I have no words to describe how I feel. It is not this hard to book. It's not. God damn it. Play with more action figures as kids, people, because it's not hard to figure out how to do a story.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm still trying to figure out how did he gas Ken Shamrock into being his his rage lackey.
Rage
I'm still trying to figure that out, because the last time they had an interaction, they was trying to be a team. That didn't necessarily work out. Obviously, Shamrock had beat him, and I'm just trying to feel what the freak did he do or say to Shamrock that he convinced him that he needed him to be his coach or whatever. That's just a part of the story we didn't get. They just threw it together.
Ken Shamrock is 56 years old. He'll be 57 in February. He's an icon of mixed martial arts. He's an icon of pro wrestling. In the last 25 years, it's Hoist Gracie, Ken Shamrock, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor. Those are your 5 biggest names in the history of combat sports. You have the perfect opportunity to do a storyline where Ken goes, I still have something left in me, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to prove it to you by taking your belt from you. And you go, nah, fam, let's do Swan Eric Young because that's the money bout. Pro wrestling is the only combat sport. And I know saying it's a combat sport, it's like saying Marvel movies are actually superheroes. I get it. I know. Shut up. But it's the only combat sport that books against the idea of fame being the only thing that's important. When you watch a UFC show, it does not matter who's going to make the most exciting fights. They will put the biggest names in the main event. Why? Because they know that's who's showing up to be watched. They know that's who's drawing the money, drawing the views, drawing the buy rates. It doesn't matter if Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone is going to be about as entertaining as a moss-covered boulder not doing anything. People are going to show because it's Conor McGregor. You're not going to put him on the undercard because he's facing off with Donald Cerrone, who's got like 37 different legions on his brain because he's just a giant fucking mess of CTE. No, they're going to be in the main event because Conor McGregor's a draw. Ken Shamrock is the biggest name on your roster, full stop. He has the most cross-brand mainstream appeal of anyone on your roster, full stop. He may not be the best worker, but guess what? The best workers hardly are ever your best draws. How you doing, Ricochet? The reasoning that exists for why Shamrock and Eddie wasn't for the title in the main event of Bound for Glory is just lost on me. I still don't get it. It's still stupid. I'm still angry and upset about it. It makes no fucking sense. This will forever be one of the worst Bound for Glories I've ever seen. And it's partly because they're like, let's put 2 mid-carders in the main event. Yeah. Money.
And they had a Bound for Glory where, what was the one they had where they just had to just have it in another country or something?
Oh, yeah, that was the Wrestle One Impact 2014 Bound for Glory, where the main event was Sonata and James Storm versus the Great Muta and Tajiri. And EC3 faced off with, I think his name was Hama. And Team 3D wrestled Tommy Dreamer and Abyss, I think.
Yeah.
And that one was like that one for a Bound for Glory name. No, not good. As a general wrestling show, it was good. I liked it. But you expect more out of Bound for Glory.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think you retweeted it. Voices of Wrestling said it. This probably the worst show of the callous, what you call it, era. And something's going wacky with the booking. Like, the real quick to get back to your analogy about the food thing. It's like when they first came to the company, they had a plate of doo-doo, and somebody told them to turn it into a 3-course meal. They got through 2 courses, and like apparently they've gotten comfortable, because it's like, hey, let's just celebrate the fact that we've turned this shit into something edible. It's like, no, don't get too comfortable. Keep going. 3-course meal. Get it to the 3rd course, and try to do something again in 3rd course type of deal after that. But it's like just the concept of how involved the Moore's been on TV, and the fact that Eric Young basically almost put him on the injury reserve list, and we may not get no repercussions for that. It's logic, man. Come on.
Like, you have P.D. Williams at your disposal. I don't know if he's able to get into the country because he was and still is, I think, living in Canada. But how do you not go, let's get PD in the States and pair him up with Eric Young, and we can do a Team Canada tag team? Or why not put Eric Young in a grouping with the North, make them the new Team Canada? That way Eric Young can build up his standing in the company and in the wrestling world as a whole. Swan is someone who, you're always going to have trepidations with, because he does have a little bit of a past. But he's also been on the straight and narrow for a long time, and we haven't had any major issues with him. So, if you want to try to build up to be a main eventer, that's fine. But you did zero to build. He's been off TV before he started doing the ankle thing. He'd been off TV for nearly a year. And then all of a sudden you're going to rush him back into the main event scene? Like, how do you not see that? That's stupid. I'm saying this because it seems to be the prevailing thought, with the way Impact does title changes. I have to have an imagination. I have to have a feeling that Swan is leaving the company in the next 6 months. Otherwise, why rush to put the belt on him? I don't get it. It makes no sense.
Yeah, we had the conversation, and I was thinking back to it. I'm like, the trajectory, not the lineage, but the trajectory of that title, dating back all the way to Aries. Oh, it's wonky, man.
You could go all the way back to Lashley, because he left after he lost the belt.
Yeah.
Fucking Angle retired or left after he lost the belts. Like, it's been some time. So Shamrock wins with some fuckery. What are you gonna do? Yeah. We get a 4-way tag team title match. Apparently, Alex Shelley was already dealing with some injuries before the match started, which is why Alexander did the pile driver spot on him. The match was not good. Fulton and Austin still have a long way to go. The Good Brothers are so not interesting. They were definitely a byproduct of the Bullet Club hype. Like, Carl Anderson used to be a good worker. Doc Gallows never was. He still isn't. Marcus, I don't get the Good Brother hype. I don't like the Good Brother hype. At first, when they got signed, I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe this will bring some more eyes on the product. But after seeing how they've been used and seeing how they wrestled, it's like, do people care enough about the Good Brothers to keep showing up? This is like when they put Brother Love or Bruce Pritchard, and they brought him back in 2017, 2016, because he had a popular podcast. The only reason they brought him back, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, man. You know, I dig them. It's cool to see them actually be on the show and work consistently. They got some interesting, you know, little repartee back and forth in those backstage promos. They're kind of funny, and they can get it done in the ring. But other than that, I mean, I prefer Triple XL to them. I mean, and they can go in the ring. Like I said, that match they had with the Rascals, both on the Victory Road show and the show, the following Impact after that, was some great stuff. And that's another team I think people sleep on. But to me, they're more interesting. So, like I said, I think it was kind of just that, like you said, the Bullet Club hype coming in, and it's really interesting going back to like EC3 and Young. Both of them have this chip on their shoulder coming out of that company, because I don't know if you watched that Before the Glory 45-minute show that they put out
No.
on YouTube, but Swan basically had this really sad, tragic backstory where it's like it's really sad. Like when his dad was he had to be told his dad was found like shot, and then like 2 years later after that, his mom had a heart attack in her sleep.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that whole thing. But then I think they followed that up with EY smoking a cigar, because you're thinking that's gonna kind of be the whole thing. Like even Kylie Rae talked about her backstory and some stuff like that, and how she had to kind of take a mental break after some stuff, and how Booker T basically kind of saved her because he really got her up to speed with reality wrestling and his training school and that. But then we follow those two things and get to EY. He's smoking a cigar, talking about maybe a little bit of his former Impact stuff, and then he gets to the Vince thing, and it's like, you lost the best thing that's ever happened to him. This, that, and the third. It's not personal. I got a great relationship with, like, dude, you and EC3, whether y'all want to admit it or not, y'all really trying to stick it to that guy, and it's not. It doesn't need to happen. It's just it's business. It's business. It's shitty business, but Vince has thrived in doing shitty business for decades now. You just happen to be on the I guess the bad end of it. But it's interesting. They both trying to prove something after the fact, but they both on two separate sides, feeling like they both doing the wrong thing. More so EC3 than EY. But getting back to the tag thing, I don't know, man. I don't even know how long Gallows and Anderson tend to stay. Like, for everything you just said about Swan, I've never questioned his loyalty, because he's been there how long? Since like before the Mac. Yeah. So it's I don't know, man, but I can't complain about seeing the North with the straps. I'm a big North guy. So
2018, that's when they debuted. So going on 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind the North winning. And you know, when I originally rebooked this, the idea was that the North would take on MCMG at Bound for Glory in what would have been the rematch that we got on free TV. And like that's fine. Like, I'm fine with the North being tag champions. They are a great act. But the rest of, you know, besides the Guns, the rest of it, I don't know. This is just not a great match. So then we get to the knockout title match. Apparently, Kylie Rae had some type of mental breakdown or some type of issue that prevented her from showing up to the arena that day. We got very little information other than she was okay, and they had to sub her out and hot shot the angle and bring in Su Yung, who was already Su Yung, even though we hadn't seen Su Yung. All right, whatever. Let's just ruin the fucking angle. All right. We don't have any other women on the roster that could. All right, whatever. Su Yung ends up winning in a match that I think is a testament to one, Deonna Purrazzo's abilities, and two, Su Yung maybe being better in the ring than what we saw from her as Susie and previously as Su Yung, because this was actually an enjoyable match. Not great, but certainly better than anything we'd seen with Su Yung before. By the by, Deonna Purrazzo did a wardrobe change prior to the match and changed up her design of her aesthetic. 2 thumbs way up. I think that's the kind of look she rock with. It's kind of wrestlery, where it kind of looks like a wrestler singlet, but it's also very, hoity-toity and very kind of panache. So I think that's a great look for her, and I think she's found how she should have her attire. So good on her for that.
Yeah.
But Su Yung wins, and they're doing an angle now on Impact with with Deonna Purrazzo, where she's bringing in Archibald Peck. So I'm happy about that. What's that?
Archibald Peck.
Yeah, Archibald Peck. He was in Shikara for a long time as Mixed Martial Archie. He was infamously backfisted by Eddie Kingston so hard he went to the future.
Makes sense.
Yep. I mean, if you get hit by Eddie Kingston, you're either going out or you're going, to the future. Like, there's no third option. But when it comes to Kylie Rae, I do think that the question needs to be asked: can she be trusted? Is she someone you can reliably build around? Because she no-showed. Now you can sit here and say, well, she's got emotional issues or mental issues or depression issues, and I empathize with that. And I'm not one of these people who would ever tell anyone like that, like, no, I get that. My stance is, but if it's such a problem you can't do your job, then you need to find a new job. And I don't say that cruelly. I say that knowing that if you have high anxiety, being a cop probably ain't the job for you. If you have asthma, probably don't become a firefighter. If blood makes you queasy, probably a surgeon ain't the thing for you, homie. If you are a vegan, maybe don't work in a steakhouse.
Yeah, don't be a surgeon with fidgety hands, or be like you hiding Parkinson's or something from somebody.
Well, they won't let you be a surgeon in that case. But yes, like if you got something that will, whether it's an emotional thing, a mental thing, a religious thing, or a personal thing that will hinder your performance in that job, maybe it's time for you to look for a new job. If you don't spell good or talk nice, maybe doing the writing ain't the thing that you should be doing. Wait.
He's good.
Thank you.
Your kid's good. A photo kid's good. But yeah, man. Again, this is not like, we know how much of an issue and this stuff is, and how sensitive people and things are around it. And apparently this is something she's been dealing with for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It does definitely now put a different spin. And again, we're not making a joke of this at all. It does kind of put a different spin on kind of, you look at that character having like bipolar undertones.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. But yeah, man, I mean, the fact of the matter is, they had to do what they had to do because she put her no-show and put them in a tight spot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the best part about it is they knew all day and not last minute, and had to pull some out their ass. So I guess she comes back, the way you could salvage it, because it's weird watching. I was like, I kind of almost inadvertently called something like this, where I don't know how the match turnout was gonna go, because I'm like, they've been teasing this whole return of Su Yung for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Su Yung doesn't really have an allegiance. Susie does, but Su Yung doesn't. So she could easily have attacked Rae, because somebody as mental as Su Yung wouldn't have an allegiance to her. So they can spin it like that. I don't know if they will, but like you said, they had to hot shot it, and kudos to Deonna, man. She's been a consummate professional throughout this whole thing. It's funny, we was talking about her not necessarily being signed Tuesday, and I think it was announced that she signed Wednesday, I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, Tuesday at 12:20 a.m. She's not signed. This is stupid practicing. Or Wednesday at 12:20 a.m. or 11:20 p.m. your time. Then at like Wednesday 2:04 a.m. Deanna Prata signs a contract, and we're like, all right, god damn it. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm glad it happened, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hope everything works out with Kylie, man. But that is going to make the brass look at her in a certain way. Because if you can't, because imagine if she was the champion in this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Like then that plays a different thing. So you got to look at stuff like that. Like that's a part of it. It's business, and obviously I think they've been really good with a lot of talents when it's come to outside things that they had to deal with and work with them. I mean, they practically probably saved, and we talked about this before, practically saved Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle's life with everything they had going on.
Mm-hmm.
During that time. So they've been really good about that. But it is gonna be interesting to see how they pivot with this, and hopefully, like you said, this whole thing with Deanna, they can keep that entertaining because she's been really good with Kimberly as well. So
I'm gonna send you a video if I can find it. It's of Archibald Peck when he was still doing his, I think it's like a majorette kind of gimmick where he was like the leader of a band, like a high school band. And I'm gonna send it to you. It's basically called Sad Archie, and he's just walking, depressed from having lost so many times. But in one of the shots, he's walking in front of the old WB headquarters. He just walked across America all sad and depressed. It was great. About the Kylie Rae situation, Dave Meltzer had the following to say. Right, this is Dave Meltzer? Yeah. What happened here, he says, is that she was there on Friday. They were expecting her to work on Saturday, and she never came to the building on Saturday. She left no word. She didn't call anybody. She disappeared. As the show was going on, obviously they were hoping she was going to show up. They couldn't find her. They looked, and she was gone. That's when nothing was said beforehand. It was awkward as hell, especially watching in hindsight. I think the situation was because they probably didn't want to go in there and say somebody beat up Kylie Rae backstage, and then it comes out the next day that there might be foul play or something bad happened to her. There was no foul play. She is fine as far as physically fine. They played the tape of her video package. They played her music, and nobody came out. Deanna Pracho came out and said that she expected this and then challenged anybody in the back. Man or woman, and Su Young came out. They did find out afterwards that she was okay. But during the show, they didn't know anything from what I understand. So it might be time to part ways with Miss Rae. I know that sounds like a callous thing to do. But you have to understand when you are advertising individuals as the reasoning to tune in, and you develop a reputation of being basically unable to be relied upon, then you are basically unemployable. Because there's no guarantee she doesn't do this again. And that's the unfortunate thing. Because by all accounts, she's a good person. And by all accounts, she's a heck of a hand. But if you can't... Like, I understand sometimes you're in a bad place mentally, but that's not an excuse. Especially when you do not contact your employers hours after you were supposed to report to work. Like, there's no excuse for that. Like, there really isn't. And unless there's like a medical issue, I don't want to go into possibilities or ideas of what that could mean. But even in that case, all that means is that this individual cannot be relied upon even more. And I feel for Kylie, but at the same time, we have to realize that, this is a business about showing up. And if you don't show up, then what's the point? And this isn't a new stance by me, folks. If you remember when Tessa was champion, I was very adamant about her needing to show up to work. When people work for me, I expect them to do the work. If you contact me the night before and you're like, listen, I'm having an emotional breakdown, and I do not think I can work tomorrow, I will understand and I will work around that. If you do it every other week, it might be time to look for a new job. But if you do it only every once in a while, we can work with that. My problem with Kylie isn't that she didn't show up. It's that she didn't contact anyone. If she was in the middle of some type of crisis or mental funk or what have you, she still has an obligation as an adult to pick up the phone and go, I can't get out of bed today. I do not know why. She didn't. And that, to me, is the part that I have the biggest issue with. Because just because you have a societal disorder or some type of, a mental issue or emotional issue, that does not mean that you get to blow off common courtesy and common decency. I'm not asking you to show up and do a 35-minute barbed wire massacre Iron Man match. I'm asking you to send a text. I'm asking you to make a phone call. That's not at all unsustainable to do. That's not something out of the realm of expectations. You as a human being, as an adult, should be able to do that regardless of your situation. And if you can't, then what that says is that you are not responsible or capable enough to be in this industry. And that's just where we are with this. And I hope for nothing but the best for her. But it's time to move on, because she's just not in a place where she's going to be healthy to do this. And this isn't the first time I've said something like this. I said the same thing about Jeff Hardy. And I'll say the same thing, and I said the same thing about Matt Hardy. And I'll say the same thing about anyone else who rolls down the pipeline who might have issues that will make them unreliable, because you need to be reliable in work. You need to be reliable in life. You need to be reliable as an adult. You need to be reliable in pro wrestling. If you cannot be reliable, you cannot be booked.
Yeah, it's and it's twofold, man. Like everything you just said, brilliant, man. But it's also twofold. Every individual you just mentioned, like I'm thinking about, the negative aspects of their lifestyles, and less so Kylie Rae, because this is, not necessarily self-inflicted, but you get into scenarios like that and you don't hear from people like that, and I'm instantly going back getting Ben Wild vibes.
Mm-hmm.
On that scale, but you go from, oh my God, this person not showing up, we need her to freaking show up, we got a match, to, is she okay? Like, has somebody seen her today? Like that type of deal. So, it's twofold, and I think, like I said, I think she had an instance like this maybe when she was potentially in AEW and something came up.
Mm-hmm.
We get all the details for that. So, like you said, ultimately, we want nothing but the best for all these people, man. But you do have to realize if she does come back and she gets in the championship scenarios and never get the belt, you gotta believe it's because they can't really trust her fully, So.
This is a performance-based industry, and the sad thing is modern pro wrestling fans treat this like it's fucking Little League soccer. Everyone gets a turn with the belt, everyone gets a trophy, everyone gets to be called good and talented, and there is no such thing as bad or... No, there is, and you suck. Shut up. This is no different than the NFL. If you cannot go, you do not get to play. If you do not get to play, you won't be on the team. If Cam Newton tomorrow goes, I'm having a case of the Mondays, Bill Belichick's going to be like, well, you're going to have a case of the Tuesdays because you're cut. Because you need to show up. If you cannot show up, you're not going to have a job. So I do just empathize with her, and I do hope nothing but the best, but I think maybe it's time for Miss Kylie Rae to look for another avenue in which to, find a way to make a living, because pro wrestling does not seem to be conducive for her well-being. If it was the first time, fair enough. Let's ride this out. Maybe she can, get some proper medication, maybe go see a counselor or a therapist and work her way through these issues. This is now the second time that a major company has bought in on Kylie Rae and disappointed her, or she's disappointed them. And again, my biggest issue isn't that she no-showed, it's that she no-showed without calling. And technically no-showed means she didn't, notify. But the issue I have is that she didn't notify. And again, if it's some type of self-inflicted issue, that is also a cause for concern. If she just did not have the courage to call and say she's not coming in, that's also a cause for concern. Like, there's no way to spin this where you can justify, well, she's like, what, 29? Like, come on. Like, at a certain point, you got to start holding people responsible for who they are as human beings. Mental issues or not.
Yeah, it's but real quick, 'cause like I said, your booking your card makes just all the sense in the world, even more so after the show. But if you over Impact and you get the news, and you have to basically do the same scenario that they did, are you going with the same outcome for the match, or you keeping it on Peraza?
I don't like Susie. Like, as a character, I think she's interesting and I think she's beautiful. But as a wrestler, yeah. I think the 90s were an era that she would have been really good in. I don't feel that way now. I would have had the Battle Royal go something to the effect like Alicia or Taya or Rosemary, whoever was in better shape to go twice that night. I would have them be last eliminated by Heath, and then I would set up a segment afterwards where, Scott would say, we have a change of plans for the Knockouts title match, and that's all you'd need to say. You didn't win the call your shot, but we need someone to step up. You're the last woman standing, basically speaking, because, in the Battle Royal. Do you want the shot? And I would probably give it to Alicia, I think, because she doesn't get these opportunities much, and she would at least be able to kind of give you that spunky, AIP, anything is possible type of like performance against Perazzo. And I don't necessarily know if I would have Alicia win or Taya win or whoever win, but I would at least do it like that, where you set up earlier in the night that you're not going to have the title match what it was supposed to be. Just Su Yung.
Yeah, or this could have been a perfect thing to get Jordan back into the picture.
Yeah.
And then you could have, like, oh hell no, she could have been on some like on some Rohit stuff, like I'm not facing you, like anybody else but you, and then you could have kind of went into your scenario in a way of like, okay, look, if I can't beat you now, no more shots for me, no more shots.
You could even just have had a little situation where Jordan her fight, but it's not an actual match, and Jordan punks her out or gets tapped or what have you, like however you want to continue this on into the weeks ahead, and I think that would have been fine too. The Knockouts match wasn't good. Like, it was better than what Su Yung has ever done before, but I think that's a testament to the Italian herself, Deonna Purrazzo. She's making our people proud, I tell you what. I tell you what there, Bill.
I like how you went from Italian to hunky.
That right there is Italian-American, and I'm proud of it. Bobby, do you know how to start a man's heart with a down power line? No? Well, there's no wrong way to do it. Still the best fucking line that show's history.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of things you might not necessarily be so proud of, main event, that's my purse.
I don't know you, that's my purse. Oh, well, before we get to the main event, they announced that the return of the Impact Knockouts Tag Team titles are upon us. They have a combination of the old design plus with the new, maybe not new men's design, but the more recent men's design, I guess is the way to say it. I like them. They use what would that be, a maroon? I think that works.
Yeah.
Very old school, but also fits the format of the other titles, so I do like the uniformity, right? Is that
Yeah, shout out to Madison Rain. I wish she would have been the one talking when it was announced. Damn you, Josh. But yeah, it's cool that finally it comes to fruition. You've been talking it up for a while. I think even before it started coming back up in conversations and interviews with them, specifically with Madison. So it's cool to see, and specifically for me, I'm not biased because obviously these are two young, beautiful black chicks, but I think obviously Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, I would imagine, to be the prime suspects or prime candidates to, win those straps, I guess, with Valkyrie and Rosemary right behind them, depending on how this wedding went.
Well, there's also Alicia Edwards and Jordan Grace now.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Plus, you have to worry about Havoc and Neva. You can sound how enthusiastic I am about that. I don't know if they're going to retain Kylie Rae, but if she does return to the company, Su Yung or Susie and Kylie Rae, Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly. This is very much like if you took all the, NBA teams that were ranked, second seed to fifth seed, and you just had them all playing one another, you wouldn't know who's going to win. Like, there's a lot of parity you can have in this. Like, it's very easy to have Kiera and Tasha be the ones who walk out with the titles. It's very easy to rely on your two top dogs, your Rock and Austin in Rosemary and Taya. You can shake things up and go with Alicia and Jordan. The champions may not even be on the roster yet. I will say this. They nailed it the first time. I think, if I remember correctly, the winners of the titles were Taylor Wilde and Sarita. I think they were the first champions.
Probably was.
Knockouts tag titles 2008. Is that when they debuted or 2009?
The default to the beautiful people, but want to refuse to give Sky any type of credit.
I remember the Lacey Von Erich was a champion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Okay, so the first champions were in fact Sarita and Taylor Wilde. They defeated Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky to win the belts in the tournament. Then Hamada and Awesome Kong. I think Hamada's in jail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think she broke into some dude's house.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on, let's see. Hamada was arrested on May 13, 2018 for possession of methamphetamine. Her arrest resulted in Pro Wrestling Wave terminating her contract and Sendai Girls Wrestling Promotion shipping her the Sendai Girls World Championship. She was given an 18-month prison sentence, suspended for 3 years. The same day, Hamada announced her retirement from pro wrestling, hoping to find work as an interpreter. Huh. And then she came back in 2019. So let's see. We had the beautiful people, Lacey Von Erich, Madison Rayne, and Velvet Sky invoking the Freebird rule. Then Hamada and Taylor Wilde won the belts. Then Angelina Love and Winter. Remember that angle? Jesus.
Love and winner. Yeah. God bless Love for that, man. That was, that had to be quite a time.
Oh, God. Then we had Rosita and Sarita as Mexican America. Brooke Tessmacher and Tara as TNT. Then Gail Kim and Madison Rayne. And then the just worst with Eric Young and ODB.
It's just hilarious. Like, hey, Angelina, yeah, we need your entire character to basically just be Botox.
Well, that's good. Because that's what we got. All right, main event time. Rich Swann, Eric Young. We already mentioned that Swann won. A lot of people are calling this the best match on the card. I don't necessarily think, that's a wrong statement. It's either the best or the second best, depending on how you view certain styles of matches. So I do agree with that. But I would still also say that I didn't care about this match. I didn't think the angle was as hot as they were hoping it to be. Marcus, what do you feel about this match?
I like the match. Obviously, we've said our piece on Young and Swan, but those two do deliver when they get in the ring. Because we talked about like it's kind of been hard for us to go through match of the year candidates for Impact, but I did put that one that he had with Edwards and Victory Road in mind, just because I really dug that match, and we didn't get any effery with that match.
Mm-hmm.
And any effery with this one either. So somebody called this the best match of called on Dollar, but yeah, it didn't really. It was cool to see the whole thing come full circle with Swan, but at the end, like you said, it was fleeting for us because like I said, that could have been a severe grudge match without the strap. You didn't need the strap for that, but again, we're here now, so at least they brought the thing full circle, and we didn't get any every like years past where TNA would have or Impact would have overbooked it as they did with things on this show. But they could have overbooked it. The hell they didn't do that. They gave Swan a clean win. So I guess for us now, we're just seeing how long Swan holds the strap.
I would say probably right before he leaves for another company. That'd be my thought.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I think Nevia, whatever you want to call her name, she and Havoc are out there for the post-match celebration. I thought they were heels. Like, the Rascals make sense, Tommy Dreamer makes sense, the Deaners make sense, Eddie and Alicia make sense, Fallah Bob makes sense, mostly because he's just trying to get on TV. Kind of a whore. Hornswoggle makes sense. Is that Tennille? Why is she out there? Some of these don't make fucking sense at all.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because I had to pause it. I was like, wait a minute, because I really thought, and this is not, again, this is us not making fun of anything around the scenario, but I thought Ray came out there.
Yeah, Neva looks a little bit like Kylie Rae when she's just in traditional clothes. That is not untrue.
I was like, what the freak? Did she no show the show and then show up? Like, what was that?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a cross between like if Kylie Rae and Deanna had a daughter, it'd be Neva. Heaven spelled backwards. Hey, remember Neva's husband, Jake Christ?
Wow, I didn't even know that, bro.
Yeah.
The spelling of the names backwards. Anybody remember Relic?
I do. So I don't mean this to be a dick when I say this, but the only other time I've ever seen the name Neva is when my brother named his dog that.
Oh, well, the time I've seen is when the wording for anything Broken Matt Hardy said came across the screen. and over and never. Like
Never. Yeah. You got a point there. All right, overall grade for Bound for Glory. I'm giving it a D+. Still better than I expected.
I'm gonna give it a C+. The plus is Storm. It was cool to see. It was just so damn cool to see Storm, and I'm loving anything with Parazzo right now. She's clicking. You know, she's really clicking right now. So yeah, better.
You do have a thing for Italians, so I get it.
I am truly biased. I'm in that regard. Yeah, man. They got to make up for this.
Yeah, they do.
They definitely got to make up for this, man. It's almost, and God rest his soul, I'm almost not, missing the fact that the beloved Byron Scott voice wasn't back in this show.
Yeah. That man,
You know,
like it would have been great just to do like a mashup of some of his past promos. Like we didn't even get like a thank you or some type of thing. Now, I if I remember correctly, we did get one when he did pass away.
Yeah.
But it would have been great to do something for this. But, again, I'm not booking this company. I would have made sure that was a thing. And I would have actually inducted him alongside Ken, had his family there and everything. But, like, again, I don't run this company. I can only come up with suggestions that people can ignore. So, that's the thing. We were going to cover Hell in a Cell, but I'm tired and we have more things to talk about on the download. So, Marcus, anything that popped out of Hell in a Cell that you wanted to mention real quickly?
Oh, the only thing, if anybody missed it, man, I just tell you to catch the 2 cell matches with Roman Uso and Banks and Bailey. Those are 2 quality things. Anything with Blandy Orton is just gonna be that, So Blandy. So yeah, that's basically what that was. We talked about it. They need to retire the concept of making these match concepts pay-per-views. It's killing it.
Yeah, so. It's not good. All right, we're done. We're going to be on the download. So if you're listening to this on Twitch, we haven't recorded yet. If you're listening to this on the YouTube, it's going to be down below in the links. Just look. It's there. Or you can go to the website at realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. You can find us on Twitter at NERDCORP and on Instagram at Real Nerd Corp. Marcus, you can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. I think I can spell, I don't know. That earlier jab at me not being a good writer, I don't know if that was a jab anymore. It may have been some thinly veiled truth. You can also find me on Twitter at ChadNerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad'sPhotoHut. For Marcus Rain, I'm Chad Porto. Be sure to download the rest of the show below because we're talking about the Ring of Honor Pure Tournament and other things I'm sure are pertinent and relevant that I completely forgot about. So, with all that being said, Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.